Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here with Vedang Kevlani. He is a recent graduate of the University of the West Indies, first class honors. He's also an aspiring data scientist, and he's empowered by data fluidity, fluency, and foresight. Fun fact about Vedang: he can actually speak three languages, crazy, and he's on a journey to empower Jamaica and the world, hopefully, with data. Greetings, Vedang. It's a blessing to have you on.
Thanks so much, Jonathan, for the invite.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Like it was very crazy because that hackathon, I saw so much like stacked developers, and I saw you there, and I was like, oh boy, the competition is thick. Could you tell us before we touch on like your hackathon project? I want to know from you personally because I see from going through your profile, I realize you're no stranger to hacking. So like, what was your journey on like stumbling into technology and that whole field?
Okay, so it's really interesting you ask because the way that I got into technology and what I want to go into data has nothing with, how I actually started. So my interest actually started when I was in high school and we had a robotics club. That was the first time I was actually introduced to programming, and it kind of disappointed me because like many other people have this expectation. You're seeing a black screen, just typing, 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 and it makes it look like one of those Hollywood movies. But it was actually nothing like that. But I think that the real catch for me was the fact that you can bring things to life using your code. And that's the real reason why I wanted to go into technology, because you can bring things to life by writing programs that make sense to you, it can make sense to other people, and it can have real world market value.
Oh, I love that. I love that. How does that synergize then with your passion for data? Because with data, what you're bringing to life is more. Because I used to do data analytics before I kind of pivoted hard into AI, right? So you're bringing to life a lot of insights and a lot of extrapolations. Where does that real life, like bringing stuff to real life, compare now with your love for data? Like, where's the synergies there?
Okay, so I think I found, my passion for data when I was just going through like a bunch of careers one day on like this article that said, top careers in computer science. And one of them I've never heard about before was data science. I started to do a little bit of digging, and turns out it was actually something I've been doing all along, whether it's going out and doing surveys for small school projects, or meeting people and presenting charts in Excel, something as simple as that. And I really like the fact that, with the way the world is moving in a period of uncertainty, the value for your data, it's about showing people, what's coming next for your business, where your business is going to go. And that's the reason why I wanted to do data science. I decided to not do robotics anymore because of the fact that it wasn't something I lost interest with over time, and particularly because I found it to be more challenging overall as it got by. So I wanted to try take a different direction with my career.
No, that's so fine. I'm happy to know that you're not gonna be a part of the Terminator uprising when it happens. It's good to know that we can be data bros together for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like your trajectory then, right? So I
Mhm.
can only imagine, right? You're huge on data. It's the love, it's the passion, even, creating like these sick projects from what I've also seen and hacking on other like projects that I've seen from you before. Like the trajectory that you're going on now, where do you see yourself like going forward with all of this data talk? Are you going to be primarily working out here in Jamaica, or do you have your sight sets on like the San Frans? I don't know, maybe you're interested in Greenland, for instance. So like where do you see Vedang 5 years
Mhm.
from now is a good question.
Okay, so I think the truth is, and this is one thing I've realized from the hackathon, the Intellibus hackathon this past weekend. A lot of people who've never been to Jamaica see it as a place for tourism. And in recent times, the past 5 years, so much has happened in Jamaica in terms of business and technology, not just locally, but even taking the talent to the international stage. And if you think about it, in terms of numbers, Jamaica is going to be growing in technology comparatively faster than a lot of other Caribbean islands and maybe other countries around the world. So I think in the 5 years' time, I see myself working in Jamaica, trying to build these solutions, like I was saying earlier, with data that help businesses navigate their uncertain times.
For like those kind of solutions, what are you thinking about? Like, what's on your mind for the stuff that you can share? Because I know you're cooking up some stuff, but like, what do you have in mind to like transform Jamaica? What is your broken experience?
Okay, so one of my broken experiences, I just really like experimenting. So one of the things I want to work with is accessibility. And when I talk about accessibility, I'm talking about making models that help people to live an equitable life. So if you think about it, that's one of the products that I had from the hackathon, which was Neural Hands. It's an American Sign Language interpreter and translator. This is the first time I'm doing something like this, not just in accessibility, but in computer vision. And I think that, the broken experience there is the fact that so many people have the potential, even though they can't hear, they can't speak, but we can do something for them that allows them to be heard and seen. And that's where I see myself dabbling it in the next coming time for my projects.
That's sick. I mean, definitely the grades are good. Like, it's just it's so fulfilling. Like, being able to provide some kind of service, I find as well. In myself, I tend to do that with information. I did a recent workshop where I talked about combining V0 and NAN, and it was just so like it just breathed so much life into me. Where persons were asking me questions like, "Yo, John, is this possible?" I'm like, "Of course, you do this and you do that." So I definitely understand the feeling as well, man. In terms though of your own personal projects, do you have anything cooking up in that regard?
Well, not I haven't thought about any new projects recently. I have done some projects in the past where it relates to finance, as well as just as simple as finding a house in Kingston, because that's something that I think a lot of us youngsters can relate to. Um, coming out of university, a lot of people had that dorm experience. Maybe they can't afford the dorm experience. So we want to find them an affordable place to live and know what's nearby for them. Those are the areas I've been working in recently. So even that has a little bit of finance to do with it, because it had to do with finding out, if the place you're going to stay is a good decision, whether it's a good rental decision, whether it's a good buying decision. And it also helps you to calculate things like your mortgage, and even breaks down complex technical terms to people so that they can navigate around this uncertainty.
I'm gonna be, you need to hurry up and develop that one, bro, because all my friends are complaining about house prices. They can't find any
Mhm.
houses or anything like that. So please get that one, ship that one quickly. In terms of shipping, however, how did you come up with like the whole process for the hackathon? Because I must say your solution that you built out was like
Mhm.
pretty complete. Like, how did you liaison with the team, put everything together? Like, how did you guys ship that? Like, give me the breakdown there.
Okay, so the idea was we wanted to do something that is different and something that is live. Now, when we were going through these different ideas, one of the conversations I had with one of my friends who was in another team, she's actually a sign language learner and quite fluent in it too, at the intermediate level. And something sparked right there. So I was like, hey, do you think it's possible to maybe make a solution for sign language learners that can help, even somebody like me who doesn't know sign language at all, and it can help somebody who knows full sign language to talk to somebody who doesn't know sign language? And that's the idea I brought to the group. And they were like, yeah, let's do some digging, see if it's already been done. And I noticed it's not been done in Jamaica to that wide of a scale, a large scale. So it's something that we started digging in immediately. This is what we need to work on, because it's not very available in Jamaica, and if we introduce it to Jamaica, it's going to be a great idea. That's basically where it started.
In terms of like the development process, how did you guys go about like just building that thing? Because that was a beast of a project. So like, well, like who was in charge of what? Like, what was the breakdown in that matter?
Okay, so we had 5 team members. I'm the data scientist, so my job was allowing the computer to see, and not just see, but also do predictions of the different letters of the alphabet when you bring your hand in front of the camera. One of my teammates, Michael Crawford, he's the front end designer, so he actually made the user interface. We have Christian Douglas. He's the UI UX designer, so he cooked up the Figma and allowed it to, he was the one who brought that prototype, and they basically both Michael and Christian worked together to bring it to life. Then we have Bhavesh. Bhavesh Sharma is our full stack developer. He integrated all the components efficiently, and when I mean efficiently, when it was almost 2 o'clock, he was like literally running command after command on the terminal, trying to get the model up to speed. And we also have Shamar who worked on our backend where it's talking about like user authentication, making sure that we know you are who you say you are. So those are our teammates, and yeah, that was our development process.
In terms of like AI in of itself, I'd love to hear your opinion on like, do you think that technologies like these would be able to transform like not only just like the sign language niche, but like others overall? Like, what are your thoughts on like AI going forward? Especially because we got 24 hours and you're able to build a complete, pretty much complete solution. You know what I'm saying? So like, how do you think AI can like transform the landscape?
So AI can be used to do many things, and more things than we can imagine. Some things that a lot of things that haven't been discovered yet. In the sign language landscape, it's about making this experience immersive. It's about the user at the forefront. It's about keeping them at the front of the process. And the way that I see AI going, if you learn AI, even the basics of AI. You may not necessarily learn how to code, but if you know to use a tool like NA10 or Lovable, you can do so much things with it and transform your business. So I think that it's a really good field to go into. So the way that I see AI going, it's a powerful tool. And I was saying that AI can do so much more than we can imagine. A lot of the things in AI have not been touched yet, they've not been discovered. And these are things that people find like in a eureka moment. They find when you're building, breaking stuff and putting them back together. And if anybody learns AI, they can be so much powerful. You don't need to learn how to code, but if you know how to use something such as NA10 or Lovable, you can easily use it to transform your business. And as it relates to the sign language landscape, I feel like keeping it's about keeping the user at the forefront. So it's about making this whole experience immersive and making sure that both parties benefit, those who don't know and those who know. And it's real, it's lifetime.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about you guys, product that you guys have published. So, in terms, you had mentioned a while ago that you can don't need to learn how to code.
Hmm.
Want to know for the development of your project, right?
Hmm.
How much of the AI did the heavy lifting? Because for mine, we said, guys, we're not gonna look at any of the code. We're just gonna ship. We're gonna ship at the speed of light, and we're just gonna go all in. All five
Hmm.
of us had cursor, like like three
Wow.
different cursor tabs going one time, bro. It's crazy. I had, I was on max. I nearly blew through all my usage. Just crazy stuff. So in terms of your development flow and how you guys went about doing it? Were you leveraging a lot of the tools available?
Yes, definitely. I think the only part, well, most of our product was done using AI when it comes to bringing it up to speed and making it efficient. Uh, the training part of the models, the part that actually gets the computer to see, that was a 50-50 because collecting the data is scarce. So we had some of the data and we realized that okay, some things are missing from it. It's not picking up some of the letters the way that we wanted to. So we had to do recordings for some of those letters and get them into the data set in a file format that's also compatible with what we got from the internet while we're doing that. And we asked AI to come up with a script that puts it all together, allows us to run this model efficiently and just do it over and over through trial and error. So even with the front end, AI actually made a lot of the transitions the way you see them, the way it was in our product, and the emojis as well as the comments, the detailed comments that were there when you scroll through each part of the page. Those are touches that AI made.
No, that's sick, man. That's sick. I'm telling you, for my project too, everything was AI, bro. So I understand. In terms of the knowledge, do you think that all right? Let's say, for instance, Vedang, right? Like you didn't have the knowledge that you did in ComSci. Do you think you could have been able to achieve the same results in the 24 hours, or was it because of your knowledge set? Having done the ComSci degree, having done the previous hackathons, like, do you think that gave you kind of like an unfair advantage, like a competitive advantage in that regard?
I think when it comes to that, um, I'm just as good as somebody who probably never did comp sci. The reason I'm saying that before is the projects that I've done in the past are, as I was saying, related to finance. This one's the first time I'm doing something in computer vision. So I've never used computer vision before. I've never tried TensorFlow. TensorFlow, it's like my first time doing a project in TensorFlow. So it was about a lot of reading through stuff, even reading what the AI spits out, trying it, seeing if it works. I mean, the only way I could say you have that competitive advantage if you understand the technical terms that the AI was giving to us in its responses. So that's the only way that would have an edge over the other teams. But I would say it's about like a fair playing field because I was completely new to it.
How do you recommend then for persons who are new, feel a bit overwhelmed and daunted by a lot of that? You just said a lot a while ago, even though I understood
Mhm,
it. So I have a few friends who listen to this podcast and they just heard the word TensorFlow and they're just like,
mhm.
"What? How do we then bridge the gap? How do those non-technical users bridge the gap in order to be or like be more, what would you say, productive with these AI models, right? To be able to understand and be able to chat with them more productively."
Okay, so I feel like if you know, I should have clarified what TensorFlow is for the users, but the first step is really understanding your problem. And when you do your problem, I feel like one of the things you can ask your AI, the AI tool that you're using is, what's a beginner friendly tool? I wouldn't say TensorFlow is beginner friendly, but it's just experimental because we were really short on time. Um, so finding out what things are possible. What are the tools you would need to make the computer vision product possible? TensorFlow was one of the suggestions that AI gave us. So now we're like, okay, one of them is TensorFlow, and then we have this other option, we have this other option. So it seems to be at the top of the rankings that the AI listed, and it seems like okay, a lot of it is in Python now. If you're familiar with Python, then doing TensorFlow may be difficult, but it may not be as difficult as if you didn't know Python at all. So I feel like compared to the others, that was the easier thing to go with, and it it really gave out all the commands you needed to set it up. It was very thorough, and you just have to be clear with your prompt from start to finish, and add the guardrails. The guardrails are very important. So when I say guardrails, those are things that things that may cause the AI to fail. Even though it's not going to be perfect on the first time, what are some of those edge things you want to put in your prompt that the AI must look out for when you're testing TensorFlow for the first time?
How did you guys guardrail, TensorFlow in order, like with guardrail, in order to get the
Mhm.
right outputs, in order to build out your TensorFlow project? Like, how did you guys go about conceptualizing that?
Okay, so one of the key features we have in our guardrail, we know that our product. So we want to show our hands in front of the camera. I'm just going to explain using an example. You want to show your hands in front of the camera, and you want the camera to be able to predict what you're signing into the camera. So like having a full palm, maybe a closed fist, two fingers, three fingers. Um, that's one guardrail. The hands must always be at the center of the camera. Another guardrail is if there are multiple hands detected, you can have a message that lets you know that, hey, we're having a problem finding the hands. So if your teammates are in the background, it's better that you ask one of them to just be in front of the camera. So things like these that, you want to add in your prompt, like guide your product, are very crucial to making sure that they work.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think we've been kind of teasing the persons who are going to be tuning in on YouTube for long enough. I want to, because you had sent me before we started this call, a quick video
Hmm.
on the product itself. So I'm gonna share my screen here. And we're gonna just walk through the project together, and you're gonna just break it down for me, all right? And for those of
Okay.
you guys who are listening on the different audio platforms, I'll be sure to give you guys like an audio visual kind of guide. Sounds good?
So this is the demo of the product that we presented at Neural Hands. We made a bit of changes to it so that all the features that we intended to present were actually complete. So you can see the login and the sign up page. This is very important, as I was saying. A complete product needs to have your front end and back end. So the back end part, we need to know who you are and if you're really who you say you are. So we're just going to ask a few questions about your email, your username, and your password, and make sure you sign into the privacy policy. And this is just giving you an introduction to what the app is going to include as part of its features. So you can see the welcome screen right there. It has a translator, it offers lessons, and that's basically two main things. So this first thing that you see that comes up, it's the online mode. One of the things I should mention is that this works both online and offline. So this
Really?
one works, yeah. So this one works with Gemini, and we're sending a pre-recorded video, turning it into image frames. So we're sending a bunch of images to Gemini and letting it do the signing for us. So you can see I'm signing some symbols into the camera. That one wasn't done properly because it's actually supposed to be held and it's supposed to be a flat palm, but we're just doing some symbols for the sake of the camera.
Okay.
You
So
can,
wait.
mhm.
Before we continue, let me understand. So to give the audio guys who are listening. So a while ago we showcased guys a normal sign up screen where the users are able to verify their identity and then come on, and then there's an onboarding section after that where you're given a breakdown step by step what Vedang and his team built out. And now we're looking at a screen where there's a camera popped up, and Vedang is now doing like a sign language showcase, sending like different frame, like a frame by frame image to a Gemini, so that we can get like some vision model usage out of it. It's pretty sick so far, man. Loving this.
Yeah. All right, so now it's time for the processing, and it may take a few seconds depending on your internet connection. I think that one of the things that was at the hackathon was the other internets were also intercepting it. And one of the things, if you know AWS, which is a hosting platform, this was deployed on AWS, and we heard that that had an outage at the time. So here are the results, basically. So you can see, Jonathan, you can just pause so I can explain the results.
Yeah.
Okay, so these results are basically a compilation of
Take it.
three three things that I signed into the camera. One of them was hello, which is a simple wave, and it's going to be continuously taking pictures as you sign. So you don't need to click, click, click. It's a continuous motion. You just wave into the camera, then you do your next gesture, in which case I did me, which is a hand pointing towards you, and good, which is a thumbs up. Um, Even though
Real
I
quick,
was hoping.
sorry to disturb
Mhm.
you. In terms of the way you guys went about it, is it a case where you combined like after a series of frames, after the last frame is done, did you put like an entire image together, like, or was it like a video, and then you sent that off to Gemini? Was that the case?
No, all of them are individual images, and it's
Okay.
looking for like repeated images. So in this case, if you slow it down and you just have like a hand pointing to you for a few seconds, it's gonna confirm that you're trying to sign me. But if you change it, like you just had it for a second or two, and then you tried something else, it may not be as accurate as you intended to be.
So
Hmm.
but you like you're saying.
Yeah. So this section basically is just saying what were the signs that you did into the camera, and it's giving a corrected feedback. That was the aim of our app, to help you know if the symbols you did were correct or they're incorrect. If it was, let's say you did good, and you signed good into the camera. Maybe good didn't come out the way you wanted to. The AI is going to tell you next time when you're doing good, keep your palm flat facing and make sure that it's not bent. Make sure it's horizontal, things like those. And then you could see a compilation of basically all the three things that I just said.
Yeah, I'm seeing it there. So we
Mhm.
have overall feedback. That's pretty sick, man. Pretty sick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, the, the wow moment for this is, if you're doing this continuously, it's a lot to read. So we also have a summarized version, which basically does the same thing, but you see how short that's become just now.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick.
So much easier to read, so much easier to process. And I feel like that was one of the things we wanted to introduce to people, because at first we wanted to make it a lesson service where you're just learning these different lessons. But now that I think about it, maybe it can even become a live captioning service for sign language learners.
Yeah, no, that would be sick. I can imagine this would have a lot of good use for, because like in the government, they always have that one lady in the bottom of the screen signing. Could also be used for that.
Yes.
Maybe some
Hmm.
like live captioning. That'd be excellent. Be so cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. So I see here that you're now clicking on this offline mode. For those of you guys who are
Hmm.
listening, we just demoed the sign detection feature that we have. It's pretty sick. And then we also have a section that gives you a summary of your performance of those signings. So yeah. So I'm seeing here, Vedang, we have a offline mode. Is that what's going on here?
Hmm. Yes, that's correct. So this one isn't as powerful as the online where you could get words and phrases, but it allows you to practice your alphabet. You have a target sentence and you're supposed to sign into the camera. It's gonna say that if you did the symbol correctly. So you can see the feedback at the bottom when it says perfect or imperfect. Some of them were correct, some of them I intentionally tried making them wrong. So you could see the variation. And if you look carefully, you'll also see that the colors are different where it says your progress. Some of them are green and some of them are red. So it's allowing you to see what letters you need to spend more time practicing. And the more you practice the letters, the faster you become at doing them. And that's how sign language works, I think, even in front of the camera. So just
No, this is
almost
sick.
there.
No, man, this is sick because like this is as real time as it gets for sure. No,
Yes.
this is no, this is sick. Yeah, because oh wow, that's so sick. So this offline model was powered by the more like not necessarily a large language model, but more like a traditional like like what would you say? Just a traditional model, like a traditional predictive model.
Yes, that's correct. So in summary, it's like we collect a bunch of images and we place them into these different folders from A to Z. So A has a specific gesture, which is like this, and we collect a bunch of those images, and we repeat the process for B, which is this, and we keep on doing that all the way onto Z, and we write a script that makes a model for it, which is an H5 file. And that's basically like, when you run something and you get like a PDF as output or you get a text file
Yeah.
as output, think of H5 as that. H5 is that's the model file basically. And then after the model file, you write a script that would just run those features and make the predictions. So now we're at now we're at the sentence accuracy. So it's saying that you got about a 70% accuracy. And we're coming narrowing down to the end of the demo. One of the more important features also in the offline mode is when you click on the view analytics, it's going to take you to a page that allows you to see how you just did in your current performance. So that's the dashboard right there. And you can see the letters that it's recommending to you, the letters that you need to spend more time on. So based on my recent performance in the camera, those are the letters that were good and those that need more work. And yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The others are just going back through the same translator, then the dashboard, and some settings.
Jeez.
So our
Oh,
product,
yeah, tell me about it. About that, like you know, the top 12 moment. Like, did you expect to come in the top 12?
I wouldn't say we were expecting to come in the top 12. One of the main reasons was, looking at other people's solutions and having conversations with them, the ideas that they have. I mean, we didn't get to see really, their final product, but when we looked at what they were building, we are like, there's a strong level of competition out there. So if we do get in, which is by keeping our fingers crossed, that was our team name. It would really be a really good moment for all of us.
No doubt. I mean, this was a sick project you guys built out here, and I love it, bro. Is there anything you'd want to leave on for the viewers who are listening in, just to give them any kind of pieces of advice on how to, leverage AI for themselves, or any kind of person who wants to get started and has no idea where to start?
Okay. So I would say first figure out what is your goal. Are you trying to learn AI for yourself? Are you trying to learn AI for your small startup or your business? Are you trying to learn AI so you could make these cool solutions? First figure out what your goal is, Start with what you know, which everybody knows. ChatGPT has used it probably at least once. If not ChatGPT, start with Gemini. Learn how to prompt. Prompt engineering is a very basic, but it develops over time. So it develops over time. Learn how to do prompt engineering. Learn how to make these prompts for your AI that you could use to get the proper output. And then once you learn how to do prompt engineering properly, spend some time learning the way. You don't have to learn the full, like you won't understand the inner works of it, but at least try to have an idea of what it's actually doing. So that way you could easily implement it in your product. I say that's where you should start. Hmm.
Figure out who you're serving. And I like that. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Yeah, man. So, hey, but then if people want to reach out to you to, build their own sign language tool, you know, to even to or to connect with you, where can persons find you on the internet, man?
Okay, so the best place would be LinkedIn. We should definitely connect on LinkedIn, which is Vedang Kevlani, and you would find my profile right there. We could just have a conversation, maybe have a little chat about the product and service, and see how we could help each other in that process.
Hey, Vedang, thank you so much for coming down, talking about this amazing project that you and the team built out here, bro. You guys are cracked developers for sure.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Anytime. So, people, please check out Vedang, check out the project. I will have links in the description below so you guys can check the project as well as Vedang out. So, yeah, I will see you all in the next installment, and thank you so much for tuning in.